2 weeks ago, I was doing my Dallas Cowboy hater thing, and I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I've been off the Dak Prescott train for a very long time. And in the course of arguing why I'm no longer on the Dak Prescott train, I decided it would be productive to do my NFL quarterback tiers just to see where Dak Prescott would fall. And the basis of that, Zach, before you put up any of these, is I made the argument that Dak Prescott is Geno Smith. If you just look at the data and the numbers, they are the same quarterback. They are the same quarterback. And I would argue that Geno's actually been a little more productive with less than Dak over the past 3 years. They're the same guy. Dak is also more injury prone than Geno Smith, which isn't great if you need an NFL starting quarterback. Here are PFF's top 20 NFL quarterbacks going into 2025 next to humble old Scotty's top 20 quarterbacks going into 2025. As I revealed 4 days prior to PFF, they are almost the same list. I hate to brag, but for the couple of people who commented on my first quarterback tier video and said, this is crap, what are you talking about? I want you to note the top 10 are the same with one exception. They ranked Geno Smith higher than I did. I was getting crap for saying Geno is Dak. They rank him 5 spots higher than I did. And I will also note, despite me doing this project out of my Dak Prescott hatred, I ranked Dak Prescott 1 spot higher than PFF. So I'm not crazy. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm tired of hearing Dak is clearly a top 10 quarterback. He's clearly not. At least according to me, someone who's watched almost every one of his games for the last several seasons, and at least according to PFF, who do this on a really analytical, stats-driven basis. You know, I again, not to brag, but I'm kind of bragging.
I tend to agree with you there. And it's not like, for the longest, I always wondered how much of it might be just some Cowboys bias from being in the state and not necessarily being a fan and having to deal with Cowboys fans.
Right.
But I think that the more and more you watch, the more I just never felt like, let's call a spade in a way of, he was still a 4th round pick from Mississippi State. Like, I don't think going in that anybody ever thought that was going to be the franchise quarterback.
Listen, if we were ranking these quarterbacks based on actual career versus expectations when drafted,
for sure,
Dak is high.
Yeah,
Dak is high
for sure.
Especially next to a guy like Kyler Murray. But when we're just ranking how good they are as NFL starters right now, Dak is not high.
Yeah,
he's 16, or I think PFF had him 17. I think he was 16 on my list, 17 on PFF's. So that is literally the middle of the league.
Yeah, no, and I'm kind of in agreement with that part of it. I think that you were very gracious in, where you rank Geno Smith. So I'm kind of shocked that
they ranked him 5 spots higher.
Was he top 10? Hold on.
He was their number 10.
I'm going to pull.
He was my 15.
Let me see if I can do this real quick.
Yeah, pull it back up.
Where's there? Here we go. So, yeah, I can't get behind. I have no clue how Geno Smith is a top 10 quarterback. To me, I'm not disrespecting Geno Smith at all, but top 10 seems kind of.
Well, he's clearly not top 10 for me either. Like, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I was shocked to find, like you, that Geno Smith, according to, and again, PFF, very data-driven, analytical. Like, if we're talking about a source that is attempting to be completely objective, most of us trust PFF to do that. And they've got him number 10.
Somebody like Dak Prescott has from going from a 4th round pick from Mississippi State to having the success he has. But it's crazy to me that PFF has Geno Smith ranked so high, but obviously they see what you see and what I see in Dak, to where Dak has talent, but Dak isn't a top 15 quarterback in the league.
No.
The Cowboys haven't had a top 15 quarterback, and I mean, it's not that long. I was going to say since Tony Romo.
Since the last starter.
Since the last guy. But it's funny to me, and this is how fan bases work too, and this is maybe, I'm not, into the forest too far to see the trees, and I can see this, is that it felt like Cowboys fans, when they had Tony Romo at the time, were very anti-Tony Romo. And they were very much, we want the shiny new Dak Prescott toy.
Not this Cowboys fan.
I'm not putting on you. I'm just putting on others. This is just what it seemed like. And so when any success that he had, they were so on board.
Yeah.
And then when the success quit coming, they were like, no, well, we couldn't have been wrong. Like that couldn't have been a fluke. Like it's got to be that, Dak's good. It's just we don't have the wide receivers around. We don't have the line around him. It's kind of like, I get it. Like,
so funny.
Yeah, exactly. With Jerry this offseason, and I just say that because I know we cover a lot of Cowboys here, so I hear it a lot of like the draft when they asked him about the running game, the departures of like, the running backs that they have, and his thing has always been like, well, no, it's always on the offensive line. And I get that to a point. You have to have a solid offensive line, but it does come down to the guy who's also running the ball. So you can have as many talented wide receivers as you want. Eventually, it does come down to the guy throwing him the ball, and that's what you're seeing in Houston. You had C.J. Stroud ranked a little bit higher, a lot higher, I think, than PFF did, and
I had him 8.
Yeah, and that's a team that I watch a lot, and I think that after his rookie year, absolutely, I would have had him on there. But after this sophomore kind of slump of the season, where Bryce Young, for sure, I think outplayed him, it does make me curious to see year 3.
Totally.
Because I still think he is a top 10 quarterback, but how much of it is like the weapons he has and how much of it is him?
Right.
Because Diggs is now gone. Well, Diggs is getting into his own problems. But you
drafted both those cats out of state.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to give them more targets. At some point in time, you can only give so many targets. And I think like that's kind of what the Cowboys have seen there with Dak. Like we can only do so much at some point in time. You have to call it what it is. Dak Prescott's a 15th quarterback in the league.
16th according to Scotty, 17th according to PFF.
I just wanted to be in order.
That is what it is. It is what it is. Not to belabor the point too long. I was the crazy Cowboys fan, Zach, that Dak's rookie year when he won NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, didn't he?
I believe so.
And he and Zeke were the 2 finalists. Both they were both rookies. But I was the crazy Cowboys fan. Tony Romo came back in the final game of the season to play in the second half. He threw a touchdown to Terrence Williams. It was really special for me. I cried. I literally cried because the writing was on the wall. He was going to retire, and that was his last action as a Cowboy. He did.
He was the NFL Offensive Rookie.
NFL, yeah. So I was the crazy Cowboys fan, Zach, that going into that postseason when Romo came back and played really well in relief the final week of the season, I was the guy saying he should start the playoff game. And everyone's like, you're crazy. He can't win playoff games. I'm like, okay, but it's Tony Romo, who I know knows how to get the ball to these weapons, knows how to run this offense, has been the best quarterback we've had in a very long time, for a long time, or a rookie. And I want Romo. And Dak started, and Dak didn't play super poorly. The Cowboys did lose. But that's where I was at. Man, I'm going to say this, get my romanticism out of the way, and then we'll take a break so we can get to Indiana Pacers talk. But Tony Romo, it is rare now you have a player spend their entire career with one franchise and retire. Legend might be too strong a word of Tony Romo, but retire as a great of your franchise history. Even Jason Witten went and spent a couple weird years in the wilderness with the Raiders before he retired as a Dallas Cowboy. So I'm really thankful he retired as a Cowboy. All that to say, put up that list one more time, Zach. Bringing this topic back to remind you, Scotty put out his list 4 days before PFF. They look almost exactly the same. I'm pretty proud of that. We're going to get Pete's thought on that at some point when he gets back from vacation. We'll have to bring this conversation back because all of this is ultimately, here's the teaser, Cowboys fans, leading me to say, if Dak has a slow start to the season, I want Joe Milton. We'll make that argument for another day.